Hello, everyone. Welcome to our event today. We've got a lot of great stuff to cover, and we've got quite a team to help you do it. So what we're going to do is first, I'd like to let everyone know that you're muted. And so if you need to ask a question, you can do it through the Q&A or through the chat window. So go ahead and send that. We've got quite a team online today. First, we've got Randy, who is our host, who's managing everything, checking your questions, and hopefully muting us if the doorbell rings and the dogs start barking at the UPS delivery. And we've also got, with Fluke Networks, we've got Jim Davis, who, if you've been on some of our recent webcasts, you've probably seen him and heard from him before. So he's going to be showing us one part of the system. I'm Mark Mullins. I'll be showing you another part. And finally, we've also got Todd Morse from Brother Solutions, who's going to be on, showing us exactly how his labeler works with ours. Now, we promise these are no slide presentations, and I'm going to say we're cheating a little bit because this is a slide, but it's the only slide in here, and we're just basically using it as a picture. What we're going to show you today is a better way to label and identify the cables in your jobs. So this little diagram here shows you how it works. The core of the system is what we call Linkware Live, which is a system for managing all your test results, your testers, and your cable IDs. On the left, you'll see you've got a laptop, or it could even be done with a phone or a tablet. You can control everything on Linkware Live through that phone, tablet, or computer. I'll be doing it with computer because that's the easiest when you're setting things up. We can set up the jobs in Linkware Live, and then they'll be there in the cloud, where now Todd will be able to go with his phone, access the job information I set up, and download it to his Brother labeler, and even print out a label for us and show us how it works. And then I'm going to pass it over to Jim, who's out at the job site, where he actually has to do the testing. He'll download the tests that I've set up into his tester, run some tests. He'll upload the results back to the cloud, the Linkware Live cloud, and then I will be able to show them to you. So it's a complicated thing. There might be some things that go a little bit wrong, but this is the real world. We're actually going to do this real live in real time. So let's get started. Okay, let me move this out of the way, so we don't need that right now. This is Linkware Live. So what I'm showing you here is if I log into Linkware Live, which is a free application that's available from Fluke Networks, you'll see something like this. Now, when you get there the first time, of course, you won't have any jobs here like I do. I've got a number of jobs that we've been working on. Some of them are kind of old, some of them are a little bit newer, but I'm going to create a new one. And the way you do that is you've been using it for a while like I have. To do that, I just click on this button that says New Project, and I have to give it a name. Well, let's call this the Brother, hey, I can still type, Factory. I don't know if Brother's building a new factory, but maybe they are, and we're going to do it. And let's say the customer, maybe that's Trend Tech. I like to make up names of companies that sound like installers. And that's good. We can add location, start date, end date. It's not necessary, so no need to make things more complicated than they are. All right, now that I've set up my test, well, what am I going to test? Well, there's two kinds of things I can test. There's copper and fiber. Well, let's start with copper. This is a complicated job, so we may actually have both copper and fiber in this one. So I'm going to use Cat6a because that's what you should use. And then I have to enter a configuration name. The reason I do this is this allows me to use this over and over again. If I have multiple sets, say multiple buildings in a single project, I can use this same configuration many times with many sets of cable IDs. This is one I set up. I can just type this in, or I can do it here. I can just pick it off the list. So copper, it's horizontal cabling. Let's go for it. So we're going to add that in. Enter. Saves it. And now it's ready for some cable IDs. So it's the horizontal, it's Brother Factory. The first ID, I'm just going to kind of make something up here. But, oh, in fact, it just remembers it from the last time I did this demonstration. BR4, this is Brother Building 4. This is Wing A01, and the first ID will be 00. That's the first port. And now my last ID will be, let's see, BR4-B002. This is wing 2 and port 99. So basically, I've got a couple of buildings. I've got a couple of closets in each one and a couple of racks in each one, and each one has 100 ports on it. So I hit enter, and what it will do is it's going to create all of these IDs for me, which we're going to see in just a moment. Okay, so that's my first setup. So there they are. You can see BR4 A01-00 to BR4 B02-99. Okay, and so you can see here there are 400, and I haven't tested any of them yet. That's what the 0 means. Okay, good. I'm going to do another test setup too, because we've got fiber in this job too. Like most places, not as much fiber as copper, but let's set up some fiber anyway. So OM3, that sounds good. I don't have the money for the fancy stuff. Configuration, I'm calling this one vertical. I'll save it. And now I'm going to create some IDs. Now here I have to go press this to create IDs for, let's see, I can find it right here. I need to add cable IDs. And this is for a vertical setup, which is what I called my fiber stuff. And now let's see, I'm just going to go something simple with this. Let's go with FB for fiber, A-00, and FB-C-04. So that's my sequence of cable IDs for fiber. Good, give it a few seconds and they will show up here. Progress updating here, and now we got it. Okay, so you can see we've got our 400 copper links here, Cat6A. These are the identifiers that are going to be used for those. I've got 16, is it 16 or 15? So it started at 0, that'd actually be 16. Let's say I have 401 here. Anyway, there's 16 here. These are the fiber identifiers. This is just fiber. I'm going to shoot these with an OTDR, and I have a general return loss or reflectance limit of, well, 35 or minus 35 dB for all you fiber guys out there. That's it. It's all set up and it's ready to go. So now the next thing that happens is, well, I'm done. So I'm the project manager. I'm done. So we're going to hand it over to Todd. Now Todd is, well, he's not really at a job site unless you consider his garage job site. But we're going to hand it on over to Todd, and he's going to show us what you do at the job site now that the job's set up and it's time to start labeling the racks and the cables out there. Hey, Todd, you there? You're any second now.
Okay, can you hear me?
Todd, you're pretty quiet.
How about now?
Pretty quiet.
Hey, Mark, can everybody hear me out there? Okay, great. Hey, are we seeing what's on my screen right now, Mark?
No view of the screen yet.
All right, let me go ahead and do this, and I'm going to, let's see if I pop up here, Mark.
We got you.
All right, fantastic. All right, now, can everybody see the app on the left as well? Okay, hang on a second. I'm going to do this real quick. I am also going to share this as well. All right, that should be up now. Can you see my app?
Yes.
Okay, so fantastic. So imagine that I'm out in the field and it's time to label a job. All right, so I am sharing my iPhone with you. Now this works on iPhone and Android as well, but in the lower right-hand corner, I've got the iLink and label. So when I go into iLink and label, it's actually going to go up into Linkware Live. And as you can see, I'm already logged in. What I'll do is I can go into Linkware Live. Let's give this just a second here. By the way, it looks like I'm having another bad hair day today. I don't know what you can see out there, but it's out of control. All right. Mark, here's the job that you just created on the very top, which is the Brother Factory. And it's as simple as selecting the Brother Factory. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to download that. Once I download that, here's my Brother Factory. I'll select the Brother Factory. I'll hit send to the printer. Now, the iOS and Android application will connect to the PTE 550 via Wi-Fi. It's got nothing to do with the internet. It is talking to the smart device and the smart device only. So again, you know, we do this stuff in Kennecott Mines up in Salt Lake City, way down below the Earth's surface. So again, it's just the connectivity via Wi-Fi, but between the two devices. You do not need the internet. Now, you do need the internet to get up into Linkware Live, obviously, but once this is down in the phone, you can just connect this and download it into the 550W. We have the capacity for up to 8,000 labels inside the 550W as essentially a database. So everything that Mark just created inside of Linkware Live, as far as that database he has, will be able to emulate and print off of the 550W. So I'm going to send this to the printer, and upon sending it to the printer, and this may be a little tough for y'all to see out there, but there is a button on the bottom of this that has database. All right. And when I select the database, it comes up as Brother Factory. And again, this is very tough to see out there via the camera. In fact, I'm not even going to try to do this, but essentially it shows my Excel database, or the database from Linkware Live. That's a little better there, right there. So as you can see, there's what Mark has created. So when I want to print either my cable wraparounds or patch panel labels, if you're doing the workstation outlets with the same identifiers, you can do that as well by utilizing these buttons right here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to highlight where I want to start. I'll scroll down to where I want to finish in this job. I'll hit the OK button. Now, once you hit the OK button, again, it's tough to see, but it does come up on the screen. It shows you what you're going to pre-print ahead of time. When I print this, I'll show you exactly how this works. I'm not going to print all 26 of these things. So what I'll do is you can specify the range also. So if you bring in, let's say, 100 labels and you only want to print the first 6, as what I'm going to do is, here's essentially what happens. So as we wait for this to print out, the beautiful thing about the tape is that it is a laminated tape. It is meant for harsh environments. And it also will print out in a strip. Everyone uses self-laminating label sheets out there. Essentially what we're doing is we're recreating that in a strip. I've set this to Cat 6. It will print the exact length of tape necessary to go around the OD of that Cat 6. So as you can see, let me get a better angle here. There are my cable IDs. And again, tough to see, but you tack this up on the back of the 7x19. You peel the first one off, you wrap that cable. You peel the next one off, you wrap that cable, so forth and so on. It'll do this on your patch panels as well, whether it be in a 4-pack, 6-pack, 8-pack, old school 24-pack. So again, it's really as easy as that. Very, very simple. So with that being said, I'm going to turn this back over.
Well, thank you very much, Todd. So now that Todd has printed the labels, and Todd works very, very fast, he's labeled everything and left the job site. And next we're going to turn it over to Jim. Now, one thing it's probably becoming clear, but we thought we'd make it clear to you. None of us are in the same location, but we are all accessing the same database. So now we can pretend that Jim is at the job site. Everything's been labeled. He needs to figure out what to test. So he's got his Versiv tester there with him, and he's going to show us how he accesses the same database that Todd was using and that I created just a few minutes ago to get the tests into his unit, so he does the right tests and he tests the right links. Take it away, Jim.
Hey, thank you, Todd. That was actually really interesting, and I hope you can appreciate how we're trying to do this without a net. This is not a shorthand or a practice thing. This is the real world. This is how people are more efficient when they're operating. So I'm out here in the field, and I'm going to select that new project, Brother Factory, that Mark created, and I'm going to sync my tester with the cloud service so I can import those cable IDs and the configuration. Now, having those cable IDs is going to save me a whole bunch of time. I don't have to type each one of them in, and they'll talk directly to the printer. So I'm going to change my project here, and I'm going to select the Brother Factory project. And just to be difficult, I'm going to change what Mark sent me. Yeah, oh, bad. Don't do that. Okay, so we are ready to go, and we'll push test to start. And we will push test to start. It's not, oh, and I will select the copper test instead of the OTDR test. Sometimes I say you need to read the error messages that are on the tester because they're going to help you. All right.
So Jim, what you're saying is if you plug a copper cable into the top of your Versiv tester and test it with an OTDR, that doesn't work?
I'm going to talk to engineering about that because in my mind, hey, I told it to go. And what I say is what counts. And when I say go, it better go. Now, Mark sent me, how many cables did you send me to test? 500?
Just 400. Maybe 401. I can't remember.
Conveniently, I don't have anything else to do today. So but I did
I got to admit, this is a pretty good demonstration of how fast you can test cables with that thing.
Isn't that something, how that jumps from how it finishes the test and moves on to the next one? So now we're going to sync, and I have my cable results stored, and I'm going to send them back up to the cloud so Mark, our manager, will be able to see our progress on the job during the day. And here we go in real time.
You did that pretty fast. Maybe oh, there you go. Okay. I was going to say, you say you might want to show them the sync
show them. This is really happening. This is in real time. So we're connected. Oh, and I'm caught for changing the project.
Oh.
Nice of Linkware to point that out. We'll see if management notices that. There we go. Mark, you should have the test results up there. Look at that, 16 minutes.
And by the way, Jim, that sync button, the one on the lower right of your screen, is the one that was actually being used to do that synchronization. And that synchronization is most commonly done through the Wi-Fi of a phone. Using your phone as a hotspot, you can connect to that, and that way you've got connectivity wherever you are out there in the world. Now you can see my screen. When we last left my screen, this is what it looked like. And as you can see, it hasn't changed at all. And that's just because I haven't refreshed it yet. If I left it and came back, or if I just hit refresh up here, I should see some results. Let's see what happens. This is where I cross my fingers and hope it works right. Uh-oh. Look at this here. None of the tests that I set up have been done. But there are these unplanned tests. Check this out. I don't know if you can see this. This is where it'd be great to maybe see if anybody in the chat window, what's wrong with these unplanned tests that Jim did? Is anybody catching that? I don't know. Is anybody watching the chat window for me? It's pretty subtle. But what happened was Jim went into his tester and he said, you know what? I don't like Cat 6A. I'm just going to test these as a Cat 6. Well, when I set these up, I set them up as a 6A. Jim tests them as a Cat 6 and then goes ahead and uploads them with these IDs, but it's flagged here as an error. And actually, I had not rehearsed this. I did not know Jim was going to pull this little stunt on me. But that's probably the way it is in the real world as well. You don't know sometimes if your tech is going to go out there and maybe change some of the settings without letting you know. Maybe this is okay, maybe it's not. But at least now I know I've got a flag. I can immediately see what's happening. And I can go in and look at the test results here just by clicking on any of these. I can get the full results and see what's happening. And in fact, if I was more organized, well, I could generate a report. Now, generating a report is really difficult. I have to click the Generate Report button, and it takes a little while, but I will get an email where I can download that report when it's ready. Maybe after the Q&A, we can come back to that, except this is set up on a Gmail account, and I believe our company is blocking that right now, so I may not be able to show you. I can also see, it's a nice thing. I can look at the headroom, so I can see how much are the cables passing by a lot. This one, I don't know if Jim's workmanship is slipping a bit. I don't know, 2.9 dB, especially with the Cat 6. It's not great, Jim. What are you doing out there?
Hey, it was a discount project. We didn't have enough budget for the cable I wanted to use, the cable I recommended. But a pass is a pass, right?
Well, as long as it's not a pass star, as you know, it's a pass is a pass. That's right. Although next time we try to do a job for Brother, they might require more headroom or something in their contract. Well, that's it for the presentation part. We don't want to keep you for a long time, but we usually end up getting a lot of questions at the end. So, whoops. Are there any questions out there that we can answer?
Looks like there's a good one for Todd there. If you wanna let him take that.
Oh yeah, I see a question for Todd.
Yeah,
You see the questions, Todd?
Mark, I can't see him from my end. Can you?
I'll be happy to read them to you. Who does your hair? No, wait, that's not it. That was my question. Do you guys have a desktop solution for this capability?
Not at this particular time. The iLink and label is only set up for the PTE 550W. However, you can still download databases via the other alternatives into some of our desktops, Mark.
Well, I was going to say one thing you can also do very easily is you see this button here that I'm showing. You can export the cable IDs that you create in Linkware Live into an Excel spreadsheet. By the way, you can also import them into Linkware Live from an Excel spreadsheet. And with that, you'd be able to, I assume, Todd, you guys can deal with cable IDs in a spreadsheet, correct?
Yeah, that's correct, Mark. And a lot of times that's what I'm doing out in the field is I'm showing them how to take a pre-existing database that they've done ahead of time and actually upload it into Linkware Live. And so as you mentioned, that can be done reverse to where you create either an Excel spreadsheet or a CSV, and then you can utilize Box or Dropbox or even email that directly to the tech out in the field. But by far, I got to tell you, utilizing the 550W with the Linkware Live and the iLink and label is probably the easiest way to go. But yes, you can do it with our desktops using an Excel spreadsheet.
All right, and what I'm showing you here, here's the, when I clicked on the export results, I wasn't paying attention, but it actually had downloaded it, and I've got all the cable IDs right here, so that, yeah, no problem. I could email that to Todd, and he could use that as well. I can also, as I mentioned, import the cable IDs. Okay, more questions coming in hot and heavy, Todd. This one's for you. Can you print the labels multiple times? And this customer says, we use 2 labels for the wall plate on 3/8 inch, 2 wrapper flag labels for the cable on 3/4 or larger, and then again on the patch panel.
The answer is yes. And so a lot of times I get this questions with rough ends. Some of the contractors or integrators, Mark, will label at both ends. But yes, you can. You can set the machine up to where it will print copies as well. And that is a big help. So that way you don't have to go through the whole sequence again. So the answer is yes.
All right. Very good. I'm told there's other questions we could be answering as well. Let's see. What else have we got? Oh, there's a lot of them. Oof. Let's see. Are all the devices connected to Wi-Fi, or is there any other way to connect? Well, with Versiv, you can connect either via Wi-Fi or with a cable. We don't have a Bluetooth option. Todd, what about your labeler?
Not at this particular time, Mark. The 550W is Wi-Fi only. We do have some Bluetooth options on the desktops, but again, those aren't going to work with iLink and labels. So you can either tether this to the PC and print directly from the PC, and then obviously take those labels out into the field ahead of time. But right now, the 550W is Wi-Fi only.
Yeah, and here's a question that I'm going to throw this one at Jim, because I've not done this before, so it's I've not done recertification before. But let's say, Jim, you did these tests to the wrong standard. With the test data in here, can I recertify these to Category 6A?
Hey, do you want to toss me the ball for a minute here? And
I'd
let
be
me show
happy
you what we
to.
can do with that.
Well, or maybe Randy could do that.
And I'll answer the question specifically. Because I only tested to Category 6, I only have 350 megahertz worth of data available. And so I don't get an option to recertify. Like even if I had tested to Category 6, I wouldn't be able to recertify to the, I wouldn't be able to certify to Category 8 because I hadn't tested a high enough frequency for that. And again, without a net, my trusty sharing is misbehaving. So let me give you guys something to look at here. So what I've done is I've reached into the tester to pull out the test results. There was a question about how we can get data from the tester. We can use, I'm using a USB cable here right now. We also have the option to do this via Wi-Fi. I am actually connected to my trusty home Wi-Fi network. But so there's a home Wi-Fi network information. But what we wanted to do was recertify. So I can choose utilities, recertify, and let's say that this customer said, I need to run gigabit Ethernet. So I want to find out, I don't care about this Category 6 thing. I want to see that we're passing gigabit Ethernet, 1000 base T. So I'll say recertify. We'll finish, and notice it shows up here with a little RC on the end of the cable ID. That's to tell us that we have we've recertified this one. And let me bring this test result over, because an important point that I try and point out to people, when you're reading test results, two very important fields to look at. The first field you want to look at is, did the test result pass? And the second field you want to look at is, what was the test limit? So this tested to Category 6 because I knew it wasn't going to pass Category 6A ahead of time. And if I select the recertified result, then we can actually see the recertified result, this time showing us the test up to gigabit. And let me show you guys our question and answer session there, because there was another question for me that I wanted to cover at the same time. A simple question, and that was, I sent Mark maybe Mark had sent me the wrong configuration of 6A, and I knew that we had Category 6 cable at the job site, and I'm looking at the blueprint, and the blueprint says Category 6. So I adjusted it on the fly. Very easily, Mark could go into Linkware and accept those test results and say, oh, yes, Category 6 is fine for us. We'll do it for my modeling. Do we have other questions out there we'd like to talk to?
We do have a few other questions. Actually, and I think, Jim, you answered this. I'm not sure if I totally understand this question, but can I change the original parameter from the original setup from Cat 6A to Cat 6 after the testing's been completed? In other words, you can't recertify up, obviously, because you didn't test enough things. Can you recertify down, however?
Yeah, sure. Let's go to recertify, and let's select here that we would like to test to Category 5E, and we've got a lot of options for things that we can recertify to. Bear with me a second here. So what we want to know is if we can retest to Category 5E permanent link, because I ran a permanent link test and not a channel test. So there we go. So we can see the difference here with this test result. Come here, this test result. Come here, details of this test result. When we look at something like insertion loss or near-end crosstalk, our limit line for Category 6 is going to 250 megahertz. We measured up to 350 megahertz. So anything under 350 megahertz with the data I have, I can recertify. And here is that limit tested to Category 5. where we go down to just 100 megahertz. So yes, I can recertify to lower limits provided I have all the data.
Thank you, Jim. It's a great demonstration as well. Let's see. Question is, what is the model of the brother labeler? Todd. Todd?
Hey, I'm here. Can you hear me, Mark?
Yes.
Okay, the model on this is the Brother PTE Paul Tom Edward 550W. And again, it's the only handheld, with the Wi-Fi. I also may say, Mark, while I get the opportunity, is I do a webcast every Thursday, 10 a.m. Pacific time. It's called BS with Todd. But one of the upcoming subjects is going to be this subject where I will go from start to finish on this and then demonstrate a little more in depth on the 550W. So go to my LinkedIn page, Todd Morse, sign up. But again, I will be covering this particular subject down the road. Thanks, Mark.
And by the way, the BS with Todd Morse, could you fill us in on what does that stand for? I'm a little concerned.
Well, I'm going to try and keep it clean, although I did slip on last Thursdays and I mentioned what I'm normally known for my BS about. But in this particular case, with this series, to keep it clean and to keep me gainfully employed, Mark, it is Brother Solutions with Todd.
You don't need those calls from HR, do you, Todd?
Not anymore. No, not up to the last one. Thanks.
Okay, let's see. We got some other questions. This is another question. Todd, are you recommending the TZ Tom Zebra flexible ID tape or another one?
So real quick is that we got a couple of different types of tapes. You need to use the TZFX, and that's our flexible ID. It is a specific tape meant for cable wraps and flags. If you use our regular TZE tape, I will guarantee you death, taxes, and the fact that that label will come off. So it's very important to use our FX tape. The tape I was demonstrating, Mark, today was our 1-inch flexible ID, which is the TZE FX 251. Thank you.
Okay, hey, thanks, Todd. Another question we've got is, can you manually input a test result to Linkware PC or Linkware Live if they were done with a non-connected tester, such as a microscanner or a cable IQ? Jim, I think you know the answer to that. I think I know the answer to that, but I'm going to pass it to you just to make sure I get it right.
Yeah, no, Linkware supports a lot of testers, DSXs, DTXs, DSP4000s, Omni scanners, original OptiFibers, but not the Cable IQ. Cable IQ has its own program. Now, if you have DSX results and you would like to import DSX results, we do have the ability to bring those test results in from a USB stick as well. So if you don't have your tester directly connected, but you have them in a USB stick, you can bring them in. But I'm sorry, no microscanner or no Cable IQ test results in Linkware.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Yeah, I mean, the big difference is Linkware is about certification, and those devices don't really certify to standards, so it doesn't quite fit, although I can understand why some people might want to do that. Another question, let's see, what was the other question? Oh, we often get questions at these events. As you know, we kind of keep them short. We do quick demonstrations so that they don't take a long time, and we always get asked about, are these valid for BICSI continuing education credits? And the answer is, unfortunately, no, because, well, for two reasons. First off, they're very short. You know, the presentation part of this was 15 or 20 minutes, which is not long enough to be accredited by BICSI for CECs. And second of all, yeah, we do usually go longer like we have today, but we don't know what we're going to talk about. Doesn't mean we don't know what we're talking about. We just don't know what we will be talking about. And what usually happens is we get a lot of questions about all sorts of things, but unfortunately, BICSI doesn't really consider that continuing education, although I think that with the feedback we get, most people consider it very, very valuable, but unfortunately, when we got on the call, we had no idea what questions we'd be answering, and so therefore we can't get CEC credits for it.
You know,
hey Todd, we got a question about
I'll take this opportunity to mention that we are doing other webinars that will be valid for CEC credits. We have one coming up on May 19th that will be valid for a CEC. Keep your eyes on your mailbox for an invitation to that event.
And I believe if you go to our Fluke Networks website and just look for webcasts, you will find them, I believe. We have a schedule of them. There are 3 or 4 already scheduled. Thank you, Jim. Just look under training and events, webinars. Oh, you're doing a great job there, Jim. And there you have it. All your different ones that are coming up here. And another thing I might point out is that if you do that, you can also, if you attend 4 of these webinars in April through June, or April through May, you'll be entered to win a microscanner POE, which is a great deal. Yeah, got one of those handy, Jim?
Oh, I was just going to give a cheap plug for our May 5th webinar where we're going to look at how
Oh, there you go.
The big boy cable here. That would be our May 5th testing industrial Ethernet cabling. Coming up in about a week.
Excellent. All right. Anything else that's coming in that we might need to? I don't think so. So I think that's it. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. We really appreciate your participation. There will be a link sent out to the next event, or I'm sorry, to a recording of this event. So we'll be able to maybe see you then. And in the meantime, have yourself a great day. Thanks and bye-bye.